His daughter goes missing and you won't believe what he finds on her laptop. Meet the Korean-American family, the Kims. David Kim, his wife Pam, and their young daughter Margot. From the family footage, we learned that Margot took up an interest in piano lessons from a young age. Pam was later diagnosed with lymphoma, SAD, which went into remission, but she later experienced a relapse. That's an L. David and Margot tried hard to make her last days her better ones until she passed away in 2015. Rip in peace. In the present, David scolds Margot for not taking out the trash. Not the worst thing a teen can do at 14. She says she will throw it away when she returns from a study group session. These kids grow up so fast. Should have made two. So two kids could ignore you. David talks to his brother Peter Kim, who's trying to make a gumbo recipe that Pam used to make. David notices a huge jar of oregano on the table. It's for better taste, I'm telling you. Peter asks not to mention it. Sure bro, just don't add it to the gumbo like that. Won't like it. David sends him a recipe picture and then watches a video of Pam showing a young Margot how to make the gumbo. Sweet memories. That night, David sleeps and misses 3 calls from Margot. He tries to call her back, but she's not answering. Margot didn't take out the garbage again. David thinks she was home and left for school, but what if she was never home? Hours later, David still hasn't heard from his daughter. After work, David tries to contact Margot, but she doesn't answer her phone. He thinks she's at a piano lesson, so he calls the piano instructor. It turns out Margot canceled her lesson 6 months earlier. This also means she's been taking the $100 bills he left for her. Oh man, that's some good oregano money. Pocket money. David starts to worry. He should. David messages his brother, but Peter thinks Margot is just screwing around. You know, typical teenagers. Drinking beers with hobos and offering sussy time for $15. Sorry, Dave. He tries to find some of her friends on social media, but all her pages are private. Turns out David doesn't have any of Margot's contacts, but who does? He looks up the numbers of Margot's classmates from Pam's old contacts list. He calls the home of Margot's childhood friend Isaac and speaks with Isaac's mother. She tells David that Isaac and his friends went on a mountain trip, so she believes Margot could be with them. Went to the mountains without telling her dad. Sussy. David writes a long angry message to his daughter. Who's a teenager here, bro? The following day, David wakes up from Isaac's call and tells him Margot is not with them. What's more, he invited her, but she declined. You know, Dave, I'm not a parenting expert and don't want to escalate the situation, but maybe you should have called the police like a day ago. David finally calls the police and speaks with Detective Rosemary Vick, assigned to the case. She tells David to communicate with anyone who may have been close to Margot or know where she was last seen. David logs into Margot's laptop. Wow bro, you're so lucky she doesn't have a password. Using the mighty power of the Forgot Password tool, Dave logs into her Facebook profile using Pam's old email address and begins reaching out to Margot's classmates. He even creates a chart to track who she has spoken to and where they have seen her. This guy's a bona fide detective. Most of the friends have alibis from the night Margot went missing. Others say Margot was usually quiet and distant, and she probably never had close friends at all. Bad sign. David calls Abigail, the girl who was studying with Margot the night she got missing. Their study group went until 12, so Margot lied here too. Later, Vic shows David traffic cam footage showing Margot leaving a gas station heading out of town. Also, David finds Margot's Venmo transactions. She's taken out $2,500. David goes through Margot's Instagram and notices some dude named Derek left pretty intense messages to her. Apparently, he has a large bone that needs examining. Derek's IG page is that of a typical douchebag, and even worse, an armed douchebag. Unfortunately, he has a solid alibi, Bieber's concert, so he's definitely gay. Vic sends Dave a fake ID Margot appears to have used under the name Jen, and Margot sent the money to herself to ensure her money won't be tracked. Whoa, she planned a serious operation here. Everything suggests she ran away. Growing tired and increasingly afraid, David comes across the site Ucast where Margot left live streaming videos. He goes through the saved videos and, well, at this point, everything's better than finding the OnlyFans page. We find videos where Margot talks to someone named Hannah with the username Fish and Chips. Hannah also has a sick mom and would relate with Margot. When going through the videos, it becomes pretty obvious that Margot is depressed. You don't say. Well, I had to mention it in case someone is still questioning. So was Hannah a 20-year-old student girl or EDP-445 looking for cakes? It's another dead end. Hannah is legit and was actually at her work when Margot disappeared. David discovers one of the videos is of Margot at a lake. It matches a picture she posted to her Tumblr account. It's Lake Barbosa where Margot likes to go to relax. Hey, what if Margot took $2.5 grand to buy a barn near the lake and live there? Nah, impossible in California. For 2.5 G, you can't even buy a hobo's box. Never mind. So David finds the directions to the lake and heads out. David reaches Vic in the middle of the night. It looks like his night hunt was successful. He found a Pokeball keychain that belonged to Margot, so she was there and never ran away. In the morning, authorities take Margot's car out of the lake. They also find an envelope with 2.5 grand. Whoa, lucky catch. But Margot isn't there. Don't know whether it's good or bad news. However, a bit of blood is spotted on the dashboard, so the case is now officially a case of abduction. News of Margot's disappearance spreads, so a search party scours the woods for her. It has become a trending topic with some people sharing love and hope for Margot to return. Those who considered Margot a weird girl in class now call her their best friend. Hypocrites. The same people remove rainbow flags right on the 1st of July. In contrast, other parenting experts mock the situation and accuse David of being involved in her disappearance. Give the guy a break. One of Margot's schoolmates, Derek Ellis, the one who's a douchebag, jokes that Margot is with him and that he's her pimp. Where did he take these joke classes? Minute Movies channel? Terrible. The joke leads to David finding the douche at the nearby movie theater, kicking his ass and breaking his jaw. That was fast. If only David could find his daughter that fast. Sorry. Come on, Dave, you're better than this. Don't you have more important things to do? Who am I to judge anyway? Well, the situation leads to David staying off the case. Seems like Vic is taking the case too seriously now. David looks through the photos of the place where Margot's car was found. He notices a hockey hoodie in the car's front seat that he recognizes as belonging to Peter, his brother. Oh no. David checks Margot's messages between her and Peter, and they look incredibly sussy. Not the type of messages a girl and her uncle would have. Something they did at night and Peter knew David would kill him for. Jeez, what a family. David comes to Peter and sets up cameras in his home. Want to be the one who films you kicking the crap out of your brother? I guess he wanted to film a confession. David asks when his brother last saw Margot and he dodges it. Meanwhile, Vic calls, but David has better things to do. Attack his brother, for example. Peter gets pushed to tell the truth. Oh yeah, get ready for this. They hung out together and did oregano. That was some weird dialogue between the two of you, but whatever. Turns out Margot had caught him at one point and wanted to try it, so they kept it a secret from David. At the same time, Dave keeps getting messages from Vic, and one says, "We got him, call me." Peter shares that he was the only one who listened to her when she talked about her mother's passing, while David had avoided talking to her about it. David gets a phone call from Vic, but he misses it and just hears her voicemail. In the voicemail, Vic says she found a suspect. David breaks down crying. The news reports that it was an ex-convict, Randy Kardoff. He recorded a video where he confessed to killing Margot, apologized, and later committed suicide. Everyone sends memorials and condolences to David. However, Dave remains suspicious. Who the hell was this? Randy? Where was his car? And where are the suitcases Randy had mentioned? David received an email from a memorial service asking for videos and pictures of Margot, something he would like to share for her upcoming memorial. After picking all the files he wanted to share, he notices a familiar picture on the service's site. Hey look, that's Hannah, aka Fish and Chips. Did she change her job? David searches her image on Google and sees that the girl in the picture is some kind of catalog model. David calls Hannah, the model, but she has no idea who Margot is and even what's UCast. David tries to reach Vic to investigate further since things don't add up at all, but she doesn't answer. He speaks to a woman from the police station that tells him that Vic is not there. She also slipped that Vic volunteered for the case instead of being assigned as Dave believed. That's strange. David does a little more investigating on Vic and sees an article of her with construction workers, one of whom is, you'll never believe it, Randy, his daughter's killer. Oh really, Vic? Couldn't just find another hobo for the job? Police go to Margot's memorial and snap, Vic is arrested. A week after her arrest, we see Vic during the interrogation. She confesses that everything she did was for her son Robert. Guess what? Robert had been in love with Margot for years, but he didn't call her for a date. He stalked her as Fish and Chips using Hannah's picture to come up with his fake persona and backstory for months. Okay kids, that there is a wrong approach. Hope you never come up with the same idea. What's more, Margot had taken out the $2.5 grand to help with what she believed was his sick mother's hospital bills. But then out of the blue, Robert realized he was doing something wrong. Instead of calling his love for a date, he tricked her into giving him $2.5 grand for a fake cancer operation. Yep, that's indeed a bit wrong. So he decided to give the money back. And yet again, instead of giving the money at school, at least at some cafe, park, or another place, he followed her to the lake at night. Man, you aren't just making a mistake, you are a walking mistake. So Robert found Margot near the lake in the car, doing oregano. How did our boy approach her? Simply getting in her car. For some reason, Margot got scared and started punching him, then got off the car and ran away. Robert thought that was not enough, so he went after her, and when Margot punched him again, he reacted by pushing her down the ravine. Can this be considered self-defense from Robert? Doubt it. The dumb kid called his mom, who told him she'll handle this. Vic made up everything to throw David off, even made a fake ID for Margot, so it looked like her body was nowhere to be found. That's what moms can do to defend their children. Imagine, she drugged that dude Randy and made him read the script to make a false confession, and killed him. Robert also goes into custody following this confession. Oh boy, guess she'll meet another mom in prison. Now the best part of the story comes. When Vic was arrested, she confessed to David that she wasn't sure if Margot was dead. Vic pointed out that she still would have to live 5 days without water, but David remembers there was a storm a couple days ago, so there's a chance she's still not dehydrated. Okay, a teen girl fell 50 feet down a ravine and stayed there for 5 days? Do you think she's still alive? What are the odds? A rescue team gets to the ravine where Margot fell. A chopper shows us how the rescuers bring up a body basket, and Margot was inside. David comes to look at his daughter and the recording breaks. Before we find out if Margot is alive, let's give a high five to David. The man turned from failure to father of the month. Okay, time goes by and we see a message exchange and a picture of David with Margot in a wheelchair at the hospital. Yay, she's still alive. She's refreshing a page of a music conservatory she had applied to. David messages her telling her he is proud of her and that her mom would be too. That's a pretty good ending. Moral of the story? Stay hydrated.